Dun, 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 dun. We have another awesome show with another awesome guest. So, are you all liking the show? Can you please put in the chat where you're coming in, where you stay, and where you live, and all that good stuff? And if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. We will gladly answer them, and we also uh, will tell the guest the question. So we'll be glad that you chime in, but I'm gonna tell y'all who the guest is on the other side. I told y'all. Make a plan, make it happen. TV brings the best guests with the most knowledge to help you. So y'all stay tuned on the other side. All right, we're back. Pardon me, my throat is kind of itchy today. So today we have another wonderful guest, and y'all, I tell y'all sometimes we got to keep going. My printer was acting up, and so I couldn't print everything out like I wanted to, but I ain't quit. But today we are interviewing the talented, gifted Nicole Donoho. I'm telling y'all, y'all enjoy this young lady. She's fantastic. She began storytelling around kindergarten. I couldn't even spell in kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? I'm like ABC, but she, pardon me, she knew I was going to act up. She started writing short stories around age 10 to 13, and she made up Sharks and Touched by an Angel mashup. She wrote her first young adult series at around 16, unpublished, about a teen working through his faith in God. In 2006, when she was around 21, she published her first young adult book, Blood of a Demon, Identity Unknown. Gang leader's son meets missionary's daughter. Interesting. In 2012, pardon me, she uh, attended a self-publishing workshop at a local church and learned how to publish on CreateSpace. Hmm. So she's published several books for children, most popular being The Little Princess Who Wouldn't Brush Her Hair. Ooh, that's interesting. Also published her first woman's novel, Annabelle's Boots. Annabelle's Boots was the first real challenge in her writing career. Hmm. So fast forward 2013, she started writing. Hmm. Had a lot to do with money and work. Oh, okay. 2014, she joined a life group at her church. And Peter Lopez had just released his new book, Excuses. Excuses, what's yours? And they had a group to encourage people to get over their excuses. Move on. What's my excuse? I was afraid God was going to do something big in my life. But why would He? I'm just nobody. I'm so glad you started back writing. In 2016, she started ghostwriting again. Wait till y'all see. She gonna crack y'all. She's hilarious. Still, she didn't consider herself a ghostwriter. I thank God she stepped out on faith in 2019. She quit her job in the corporate and started Teddy Fly LLC. We're gonna talk about her website because we got a whole scene with her on her website. And she began speaking at schools, attending events, really excited about writing. And in 2020, she was approached to do some freelance writing and help others write their story. Wow, she finally officially accepted that she was a ghostwriter. But had some doubts, do it scared. So without further ado, because there's so much extra to this bio, we must bring this young lady aboard, y'all. I mean, this is my buddy. I must say that. Let's bring on Nicole Donoho. Oh God, how are you doing this wonderful day, Nicole?
I'm doing great, Kettler. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I am so impressed. You have been in the writing journey since you were a kid. This is something that you always wanted to do.
It's not something that I always wanted to do, or I should say, knowingly wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing in kindergarten, but I didn't start storytelling, like writing stories in kindergarten. Um, I just was a ham, and my parents have VHS tapes to prove it
Yo.
that I would tell stories. And so then when I was about 10 to 13, somewhere around in there, can't remember exactly, I would just write what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take Touched by an Angel, which my mom watched all the time.
Yeah.
And I had this one story about these people at my church and these sharks and the Touched by Angel. Andrew and Monica came and saved the day. And it was, that was how I began writing.
Wow. That is amazing. So when you were young, you just, you know, started to doodle a little bit and got really into it. Wow. That that's impressive. So the Touched by an Angel mashup. That's interesting.
I
That
don't
was
have that anymore.
oh,
I don't have it anymore. It's not published.
okay. Okay, so by the time you turn 21, what's up with this blood of a demon identity unknown? That was interesting.
Okay, so 21. So I have it here. Here's
Mm-hmm.
my book. I had a coworker do the
Oh,
cover of it. She was actually an art student, and I had
oh,
her do
okay.
the cover. It was me exploring what I believed in my faith.
Okay.
So I had Cassie or Callie was a missionary's daughter. She meets a gang leader's son. I grew up in church. My
Mm-hmm.
parents both go to church and everything, so I don't know anything about gangs. And it just intrigues me, those pieces and stories where you have the I don't know, the bad guys or the guys in a different lifestyle that you're like, I
Mm-hmm.
know nothing about this.
Right.
And so we kind of just took these two characters and had them meet
Mm-hmm.
and explored my own faith through it.
Okay.
So Callie is very grounded and secure in her faith,
Mm-hmm.
and Chase knows nothing about God and doesn't care to know about God. And they collide quite literally, and and so he's introduced to this person that he's like, I don't understand why you believe what you believe, but I can tell that you believe it, and it just is intriguing. So I just kind of explored. That's kind of how most of my writing came about, is
Okay.
exploring different topics, exploring different things,
Mm-hmm.
and doing it through a story.
Wow. Wow. So you attended your first workshop and create space, which was, a lot of people didn't. Pardon me. Now it's KDP now, but back then I remember it because I got my book done through that. So how did that workshop go?
I was a little skeptic. A friend told me about it because they knew I liked writing stories. And they said, hey, my church is having this self publishing class, and do you want to come to it? And I wasn't really going to church at the time. And I was like, I don't want to go to this class. But I wanted to know how to publish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went. And as they're going through the class, I was just like, this is amazing. Like, this is so awesome. And I'm kind of looking around like, is everybody else thinking this is awesome? Because to me, I was just eating it all up. Like, this is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the class and I was like, I'm going to publish a book. Like, I'm going to do this. I had already written some children's stories for some coworkers for their children, just, on paper and made them up. And so I was like, well, I have these stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this. So I went and I got Little Princess Who Would Brush Her Hair
Wow.
and published it. And if you purchase that one, I just want to pre warn you, like, I drew the illustrations, but I didn't know what I was doing with the I
Okay.
didn't know what I was doing. Like, I scanned them in and stuff. Okay, so it's not as professional as my newer book.
Excuse me.
I gotta go back and update it. But like, that was one of the learning curves in it.
Right. Right.
So I
Right.
did that, and I published a women's novel.
Oh, that's nice.
And I'm just kind of showing you because, like, the evolution of a
Right.
storyteller.
Right.
Because I got into it, I didn't know. Like, when
Mm-hmm.
I did Blood of a Demon, I went with what they call like a vanity press,
Yeah.
which means you don't pay anything. Like, they say we're going to pay you royalties and all that. But I was just excited to get my book published.
Right.
I was like, I got my little $1, first dollar made sign in a frame. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I made $1,
Mm-hmm.
and that might have been all I made. I don't know. I was just like, I don't know, because, it just was crazy. But then once I started, when I got on Create Space and I started doing that, I was sharing, like, hey, I got this children's book I published.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really think anyone's going to be interested in it,
Mm-hmm.
but I had some people reach out to me. One of them was a family member, and she said, hey, I've always wanted to write a children's book,
Mm-hmm.
but how did you do it? Can you tell me? And I was like, yeah, like, it was super easy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't understand is this was some, like, knowledge God was giving me
Mm-hmm.
and a passion he was giving me, because when I would show it to other people, they're just like, I don't get it. How don't you get it? Like, you just click this button and you do this and then you format like this, and it's done. This is awesome.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'll help you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll help you do it.
Wow. Wow. See, that was back when, remember, they were telling people, oh, create a book and they're going to buy it from you. And that was a big thing because I was a part of that. Write a book, they'll come to your website. They'll do this. They made all these promises. And my first copy of my first book sucked. Your artwork was on point. I had errors, grammatical, all in my first copy. It sucked. So it's great to see yours is limited tweaks. I'm like, man, that was better than mine. Ugh. So that's impressive. So I'm just amazed that you know you stopped and
That's about.
I mean you got so much potential. I'm just so glad that God touched your heart to do it again because you
Mhm.
have so many gifts. And I remember, not y'all, we are a part of a group coaching model called Book to Book, and that's how I met her. We have the same coach. And when I saw, no, I'm gonna tell you what got me. We had a homework assignment, right? And when you presented your homework, I was like, detail, neat, pages, detail, and I was like, oh, I like her. Detail, and I was like, she got this. She gonna go far. I just knew
Anybody
it.
anybody that used to work with me, if they're watching, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's Nicole," because I'm the one that's like, it has to be.
I was like, and and not only detail, but very good messages, good, very good English. It was almost like you were writing a recipe to success. I am so glad you started back because I'm like, and I've noticed that sometimes we have so many skills and we doubt ourselves, and God is trying to pull it out of us. And yes, I did have some of those same issues. Oh, I'm not sure about this. I don't know about this investment. I don't know. But I can look back from last year to now and see it was worth it. Okay,
Yeah,
because our same coach is the reason why we're both here. So
exactly.
I'm proud of you, child. Cause wow, this this bio alone, if y'all saw what I saw, y'all be like, wow. So back to this. You. How did Peter Lopez's book "Excuses What's Yours"? How did that affect you?
Okay, so at that time, I had stepped away from writing.
Hmm.
I'm still passionate about writing,
Okay.
but I was just like, it's not working. It's not paying the bills. I had in my head, you have to have a real job. Real jobs pay the bills, and writing's not one of them.
Hmm.
And so I had that in my head, and I was going to church with him and his wife, and he said, I got this book. We're going to do a life group on it. I said, okay. And one of the first assignments in the life group was you have to write down what your excuse is. And so people were saying like my excuse is I need to lose weight, but I'm not going to the gym and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, God, I don't want a surface level excuse. What is my big excuse?
Mm-hmm.
And my excuse was that I'd always seen God could do big things. He could do big, huge things in my life, but I was afraid he was going to do it.
Mm.
And I was like, listen, this might sound crazy, Peter. Like, this is going to sound like a crazy excuse. It's going to sound like it's not an excuse. But to me, this is the monstrous excuse. This is like, I'm not afraid that God's going to fail me. I'm not afraid that, bad things are going to happen. Like, I'm afraid that God's going to do something totally amazing and awesome in my life,
Mm.
and I don't feel worthy. Like, I don't feel like I would deserve it. I didn't like do this hard work or go through this hard situation to get there. And I was just like, I that's my excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they kind of just looked at me and they were like, um, okay. And I'm used to that look. Because, I'm a creative mind, so I get that crazy look. Like, what did you just say?
Right.
Like, okay. But once I said that, he was like, what do you think about doing some ghostwriting? And started talking to me about it. And I was like, oh, I've already done that. And he's like, oh, okay. Because a friend of my husband's had told me about this guy who lived through the killing fields in Cambodia.
Yeah.
And he wanted to write his story. And my husband's friend knew that I wrote books and I published some books.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll help him write it. So I was ghostwriting, but I didn't know I was a ghostwriter. And I was like, oh,
Oh.
that's what that is? Because, like, I thought you had to go to school or I thought you had to have some kind of, I don't know, title. I
Right.
was like, yeah, I know how to ghostwrite. Like, I know how to do that. And so I got into ghostwriting. And that's really, I mean, when he suggested I do that, like, hey, I'm going to push you a little bit to get past your excuse. I went into it. But then once again, I got scared because I started seeing the I started seeing the success of like, I don't know, this is getting really big. Like that's kind of scary, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I would back down. Like I'll just go into this normal little account manager position. It's
Mm-hmm.
a normal job. I'll do a
Wow.
normal and just kept suppressing the creativeness.
Wow. We have a comment here. Shayna says, I love her journey and how God used her love of writing to bring her back to him through publishing. Also, wait a minute, let's get this one up. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. Mm.
100%.
That's deep.
So,
So go ahead.
well, I was just going to say on that comment, um, when I started ghostwriting again, I actually got paired up with an author, and they didn't want to work with me because I didn't have like a Bible degree or, I didn't have that kind of knowledge. I was so defeated. And I was just like, I'm just going to quit today. I'm going to call my publishers I'm working with. I'm going to tell them I just can't do this. Like
Wow.
I'm not this skilled writer. And I had a call right after that one,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so scared to get on it. And I got on the call and I was talking with this lady, and
Mm-hmm.
she said, so when did you start doing this? Like, how did you get into this and everything? And I was just like, oh no, like here I go. Like, I can't take it twice in one day. God, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her, I was like, well, I didn't start out, like, I don't have an English major. I didn't go to school for this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, really? I'm like, no, like, I just worked in the corporate world. I did signing, I did this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, but how did you, like, start writing? I was like, it's just, God gave me that talent. Like, I just, I just
Right.
started reading and I love storytelling. So
Mm-hmm.
I just learn and I grow and just keep going. And she was like, that is so amazing, Nicole. She's like, it has touched me so much that
Mm-hmm.
God gave you this talent. And she goes, that's just a huge testimony to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, this did not go the same as my earlier goal. I was so thankful. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Right. That's amazing. So you quit your job and start teddyfly.com. How has that journey been since you started that site with those wonderful products that are on there? We're going to talk about that, y'all, because y'all need to pull up her webpage. But go ahead.
So it didn't start with the wonderful products on there.
Okay.
So we started off that I was just like, okay, I need to be a legitimate business. Like, I can't just go sell my book on the corner and here's a book, buy a book. Like, I want to, if I'm going to do this,
Mm-hmm.
I got to prepare for growth, make a plan, right? And so, and so I was like, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to get my tax ID. I'm going to do all the little things that I don't want to do because they're boring.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to write. But I was like, I'm going to do all these things. And as I started doing those things, stuff started happening
Mm.
because I was progressing towards what I wanted. Like, this is what I need in place to be successful.
Okay.
And so I started doing those things. And then I got into ghostwriting and editing with publishers and
Mm.
just kept going. And then I was introduced to like merch. I
Mm.
was like, oh, that's cool. I'd like a t shirt for Jazzy Bear. Like, that's fun. And
Yeah.
so, I'm like, again, though, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this
Mm-hmm.
because maybe it's a lot of stuff I don't know. But taking those steps, and as my coach would say, do it scared. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
That was the biggest thing I had to learn is it's okay if it's not perfect. Like,
Mm.
put it out there, like
Right.
go and don't be
Right.
scared.
Well, you've done phenomenal. I must tell y'all, we're going to interject right here. Please go to teddyfly.com. Y'all need to see her website. Her website is quite intriguing. It makes you want to connect with her. Nicole is just awesome. No, we're not finished because we still have more to go. I just wanted to throw her uh, info out there so you all can go support her. So, how was the journey quitting your job and doing this full time? Did you have to get over some mindset shifts?
I did have to get over some mindset shifts, yes. So when I quit my job, the discussion me and my husband had was that it's all good, but maybe just have some grocery money coming in, okay?
Mm.
And I said, okay, okay. So I was like, he sells motorcycle parts, and so
Oh.
his slow seasons during the winter. So I was
Okay.
like, okay, I will get a part time job during the winter to help. And just I was doing odd jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I was detailing cars.
What?
I I learned a lot. Like, people are very messy in their cars. It
A little
is
bit, yes.
disgusting. Eating don't eat Chinese food in your car. Okay, don't. All right. Your detailer does not want to clean that.
Okay.
But so I was detailing cars. I got a part time job at a grocery store and was doing that for about a year or so. And then I was like, I need to quit. I need to pick up more editing and writing jobs.
Okay.
And my husband was like, okay, like, if that's what God's telling you to do, go for it. And so I just, those little steps of like, I'm gonna do it scared. I'm gonna do it scared because I mean, thank God my husband Jacob is amazing. He's so supportive,
Yes.
and I wouldn't be able to do any of it without him because all the times that I was sitting there, crying, like, I'm just gonna go back. I don't even know what I'm doing. He's like, babe, it's gonna be fine. Like, do what you want to do, but I believe this is going somewhere. And like, he's, driving me to a school assembly to speak in front of, the entire elementary school about writing. And then, the next week, he's like, it's gonna be okay. Like, because I'm doubting myself. And so he's been on the roller coaster with me. I couldn't have done it without him. But
Wow,
yeah.
that is that's great to have support like that, especially when you have those valley days. And he just been your strength, not only for you and the kids, but he just been there when you just couldn't get to the next level and encouraging you. That's a true husband. Hats off
Yes.
to him. Tell him I said he's doing a fine job. So,
I will tell him.
so 2020 was a pivotal year for you because you
Yes.
finally accepted the fact that you are a ghostwriter. Really? So when
Yeah.
did you get confidence to know you could step out on faith and do this all the time?
Um, I wouldn't say I got confidence until probably the end of 2020.
Really?
So I stepped out. I had a part time job and I was doing ghostwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit,
Ooh,
and I
yes.
was like, well, this is kind of crazy because God had arranged all these things. So I always like to say God is the ultimate storyteller.
Yes.
He has all these pieces and we just don't see what's over here, you
Right.
know? And so I had got in with some publishers to do ghostwriting and editing at the beginning before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
So when COVID hit, I was able to do that.
Okay.
Um, so I had income coming in. I was good. And then let's see, towards the end of the year, pretty much that whole year, I
Mm-hmm.
had my publishers giving me pep talks. Like
Wow.
what like I'm sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this." Why are these people asking me to write their books? And these people are coming to me and they're like, "What do you think, Nicole?" I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why are you asking me what I think? What? And my publisher's like, you're the professional. That's why they're coming to you. But I thought so hard that since I didn't have a title, I had nothing.
Mm.
Like, I'm like, I don't have no piece of paper. Like, my husband has a certificate that says he learned about motorcycles. So he
Mm-hmm.
knows what he's talking about, you know? I don't have no certificate that said, I know what I'm talking about about books, you know? It's just what God has put in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look at something and I'll say, this doesn't flow well. Like,
Mm.
what if we put this here and put that there and we change this? There, now it's better, you know? And I didn't think much about it. It's just like it comes natural. So I was like, why? I don't know. Am I doing this right?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I supposed to judge it against? Like,
Wow. So that's how you got into it. Okay. Then you finally was like, I can do this. I can do
yeah.
this. Oh Lord. So you had imposter syndrome too. I understand what that is. But God had a plan for you.
Yes.
My God. So then you started to help other authors, and then you came out with other books that you could add to Teddy Fly
Yes.
Time. Yes, we need to talk about
So
that.
while I was working at the grocery store, I
Uh huh.
met a woman named Jasmine,
Okay.
and that was the inspiration for Jazzy Bear.
Oh, I like that cover.
So she had told me a story about something that happened to her, that she had some books thrown in the mud when she was in middle school. Like I looked at this woman and I was like, I respect you so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
you are so brave. You are like all these things I look up to. And she told me about the story that happened that had built her confidence
Okay.
without ruining it. Like I'll just show you. Like
Oh, look at the artwork. Oh, I love that. Oh,
yes,
nice.
Jason is an amazing illustrator. I did not. I can't take credit for this,
He did a
but
fine job.
this helps kids deal with hurtful words. So Jazzy Bear was told things. She looks different. She's got this different hair and everything, and she looks different from the other bears. And she's always told stuff,
Hmm.
but it helps to say, I don't want to ruin it, but it helps because it's like, no, that's not, who you are.
Right,
Like this is
right,
who you
right,
are, and
right.
she gets that reassurance. This is who you are.
Hmm.
You know. And so I did that. Well, then, um, little while after that, my youngest son Solomon was
Hmm.
struggling with his self image,
Okay.
and I was like, I really want to make a story for Solomon.
Hmm.
And I had no intentions of making a series, but I went with Solly Bear and the Broken Mirror.
Oh,
So
nice. Same illustrator.
Solly Bear, same illustrator.
Wow, that's
Yes. Had
nice.
to do the same illustrator because I
Yeah,
wanted to keep the
it's
series. But
consistent.
Solly, yes. So Solly Bear, he he looks in the mirror and he doesn't like what he sees. And this one was hard. So,
Wow.
first of all, because my 8 year old was struggling, he is a lot bigger than his brother, who's a year older than him.
Hmm.
And so, I have three boys,
Okay.
and the oldest two are really tall and lanky. And my youngest one is really like stocky and muscular, like my husband. and so
Wow.
but he was struggling because he's like, I'm so much bigger.
Mm.
And, I don't like this. So Solly Bear kind of explored the idea of, hey, but you're stronger. Like other people rely on you for these things,
Right.
like, and just to help build that self image. But I read that at a summer camp at the school for the
Hmm.
first time this summer, right before it was released, and I was taking everything to not like start crying because I was just like, I can relate to that. I can
Right.
relate to not liking who you see in the mirror
Right.
and not necessarily like physical looks. Yeah, I don't always like everything, but just like imposter, like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel like I'm a failure. Oh, I feel like I'm a nobody, whatever. And so that was really, it was really touching too, because these books deal with really big emotions,
Yes.
you know, confidence and self image. Kids are struggling with that.
True.
And so reading it to them and hearing their feedback. You know, have you ever met someone that was bullied, and stuff like that? And to hear the things that they say is like, wow, like these kids are going through a lot.
True.
And having a book, like, I'm glad I can contribute that to them,
Right.
to just bridge the gap between parents and teachers and counselors to say, let's talk about our feelings here,
Right.
and
Right.
they're reading a little book. They don't know that they're about to start dealing with their self image, you know?
Right. Right. We have a couple of comments. Pardon me. Number one, Shayna says, I love this, especially the support of your husband. That's one. Pardon me. And second, what do you do when you face doubt in your abilities as a ghostwriter and an author? That's a question. What do you
Okay.
do when you face doubt in your abilities as a ghostwriter and an author? That's a question for you, Nicole.
Okay. So, firstly, I would resort to just crying and walking away from writing.
Mm.
I'll just be like, I'm done. So, I can think to a school assembly. This will answer the question.
Okay.
I gave them the example of every story has a villain, right?
Hmm. Yes.
I said, for me, I pulled out a big mirror
Hmm.
and I said, this person right here, this is my villain.
Mm.
And I was like, because when I think that I can do it, I can do it. And when I think I cannot do it, I cannot do it.
Hmm.
And so when I face difficult times with ghostwriting and writing books and everything, I really got to get on my knees and be like,
Mm.
God, what do I need to see here?
Hmm.
Did I take on something I shouldn't have taken on?
Hmm.
Did I take on a project that I had no business taking on?
Hmm.
Or do I need to dig in deeper and learn more about this particular project?
Hmm.
There was some projects that I took on. A lot of ghostwriting, I deal with people's testimonies, like their
Mm.
life story.
Okay.
And I had a lot of book after book after book was about domestic abuse.
Ooh. So.
And I was like, one, I don't know anything about domestic abuse.
Uh huh.
My husband doesn't abuse me. I've
Right.
never been abused. And so I would be hearing these heavy, heavy, heavy
Hmm.
calls with my authors, and they're going through all this stuff. And I'm just feeling it all. I'm just
Right.
like, I'm a very empathetic person. And I'm
Right.
just like, man, that's horrible. That's horrible. And I really had to stay grounded and go back to God because I was like, God, these are heavy topics
Right.
and I can't carry this.
Right.
Like I can't carry the weight of feeling
Pardon me.
sorry for this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I also can't start building suspicions against my own husband.
Right.
Like, oh, wait, does he do that? Like, what? And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I thinking this way?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really, for me, it might not be the same for all ghostwriters. And that's one of the first things I tell my authors is that I go back to God.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I implemented this year with my authors, praying before we start a phone call.
Good.
And I was like, I don't, if you don't believe, that's okay. But can I open this up in prayer?
Mm.
It's important to me. And most of the authors that I've worked with, they believe in God, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like do that." Some of them have dubbed me the Holy Ghost writer because they're like, you must be listening to the spirit while you're writing because I don't know how you got in my head. I'm
Right.
like, pray and ask God, like,
Right.
help me tell this because I can't do it on my own.
We can't. And that's the wonderful thing because I knew it was funny when you were asking me questions. Well, how's the show gonna be? I said, yes, you'll see. And I said, because God is my co-producer of the show, and so I only ask certain people, and if I'm not feeling them, I'm like, nah. But then when I'm feeling them, yeah, and then I offer to come on and tell your story, and you are doing a fine, fine, fantabulous job. So you have been speaking at events and whew, wow, podcasts. I mean, so since you embraced being doing your role, what all has happened? What have been some of the successes?
Okay, so let's go back to when I first started Teddy Fly.
Okay,
When
go
I
ahead.
first started it, which was like 3 years ago, when I first started it, I got asked to come to the school assembly for an
Mm-hmm.
entire elementary.
Okay.
I did that. I had a bulk sale for the school. Didn't even know what a bulk sale was at the time. I just was like, cool. I sold them a bunch of books. Sweet, this is awesome. And then I got asked to come to a writing club at another school. I was just supposed to be a guest speaker.
Mm,
And I ended up going back for 4 more weeks to help the kids with their stories because I was so excited. I
right.
was like, yeah, let's work on your stories. Like, this is so great. And they were excited to be working with an author,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny. Like, I felt honored to be working with them, but they
Right.
were excited to be working with me. And so then after that, COVID, shut down. But then once I started working with Shayna, building my confidence back up, I was
Mm,
like, okay, I can do this. Like,
mm,
I'd looked back through my Facebook and Instagram and I was like, oh yeah, like I did that. Like that I did this stuff already. Why am I doubting this?
mm-hmm.
And I had an author friend come to me. She found out about a festival I was going to be going to and sell my
Mm-hmm.
books at. She came to me and she was like, "Hey, can I join you? Like, can I join you at the festival? My book's not out yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to see what you do." I'm like, well, "This is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to learn from me?" And through that, we started a thing called Read Local. So, local authors in Northwest Arkansas, because that's where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
they can come to events. And so, a lot of times, authors have to pay a fee to get into an event. But we're like, hey, we'll cover the fee for the event. You just come and sell your books.
Mm-hmm.
Because we wanted a community of authors to help support each other. And then that way, like, one of the authors had a book for adults. I only had the kids' books there that day. So I'm like, oh, you don't have any kids? Well, talk to this person over here because he has an adult book. And we were able to help each other, sell our books because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you get nervous.
Right.
And a lot of authors are also introverts. So
Yes.
it helps to have some extroverts, there to learn from. Yeah.
So, how did you find your book coach? How did that happen?
So I found her on Instagram. I think I came across one of her ads or something. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Like maybe I could do this bulk sale thing. Everybody wants to make money, right?
Right.
And so I had like she had like a free call that you could sign up for, and I did that, and it went really well. And I was like, yeah, I think this is good. And then I was like, started doubting. Well, do I really want to put that much money in? I don't want. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And then we ended up like not having the money. So I was like, well, I'll try to figure this out on my own. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure it out on my own. It wasn't meant to be. And so kept following her, and I kept seeing all the stuff on Instagram. And I'm just like, man, I got to do this scared. I got to take this step. And all I could think about was my husband,
Mm-hmm.
because we moved from Arkansas to Florida so he could go to motorcycle mechanic school.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't just oh yeah, we're going to move and this is great. We sold everything. We had
Mm.
a small U-Haul when we went down there. And my oldest son was 5, my youngest son was 1 month old.
Mm-hmm.
We had no jobs lined up,
Wow.
but we knew we were supposed to go down there. And I was like, we put this money for you to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put this money to Shayna so I can learn and invest in me, in my
Mm-hmm.
business.
Right.
And so I went, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I went, and the first couple courses, I'm not going to give anything away because you got to sign up for it if you're an author. Like,
Exactly.
it's intense and it's amazing and it's
Yes.
needed.
All that.
And so I I went in the first couple modules, I was just like, oh, I want to quit. I want to quit, because it really made me dig into myself
Yes.
and build my confidence, or exposed the areas where I had lack of confidence. And as I was talking to her, I was just like, I need to rewire my mind. Like, I'm done with this. I don't know why I keep going back to that fear, but I'm done with it. Like, I'm just going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said, I'm just going to go, doors just opening and opening. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Crazy stuff. Yeah.
On a side note, y'all, I've been pleased with her progress because I'm a member of the same group, and I've watched her grow as a author, as a person, and her confidence level has shot to new highs. And I'm proud of her. Oh, wait a minute. Coach Shayna said, rewire my mind. Oh, amen. Yes, Jesus. Rewire my mind. In fact, that's a message. Let me stop because I'm getting excited. I'm going to have to preach that one day. I mean, speak that one day. Anyway, you are, pardon me, are doing. So, I mean, you came in the group and I watched you grow. And to see what you're doing now is a testament to your faith. You decide to step on faith, make a plan, make it happen. And look at you now. Look what you about to walk in. No, not walking, about to walk in. You're walking in it now. I am so proud of you as your big brother now. I told you this was, and we not finished. I told you this was going to be a conversation. You had nothing to worry about. I let my folk come in and tell their stories. Your story is intriguing for what you had to go through and what you're doing now, and your faith in God to let Him shift, change, rewire, and now all this opportunity of what you're doing is just awesome. I'm proud of you. And so, um, tell us the surprise that you have coming up. I see that you are releasing a second book, Emotions We Bear. Ooh, do tell, because I do want a copy.
So, Emotions We Bear, no, Emotions We Bear is the series.
It's a series.
Yeah. So,
Oh.
I've already got requests from kids. So, in Jazzy Bear, there's a Bully Bear book, and they want to know why Bully Bear is a bully. So, I have to explore that. I don't know that I'm ready to yet. That's a deep one. But then there's also some different topics that I want to touch on in the Emotions We Bear series.
Okay.
So there'll be one. There is going to be one coming out with this little guy. I gotta find him. So this is I don't know if he's named Josie Bear. Yeah,
Okay.
this little guy. Wait,
Yes.
right here. That one.
Okay.
That's Josie Bear. So he is a Jason made him a red panda, and he's different. He kind of looks like a raccoon, not a bear.
Okay.
And so he's going to have a book about like being different from other people,
Okay.
or from other bears in his
Got you.
instance. So there's going to be a book about that. There is going to be one about Bully Bear. They're not in the works yet. But what is in the works, and I don't have any examples because it's that much in the works, but I'm looking at November releasing a Journey of a Storyteller workbook.
Woo.
So it is going to take kids through the journey of storytelling. So from beginning to the end. It's geared for elementary age kids, but what I really want to do, so how that came about, I did a creative writing class with a homeschool group at our library,
Mm.
and they found out I was an author. They wanted me to come teach their kids to write. And so out of that, I'm actually working with some kid authors. And Teddy Fly has a for kids by kids section on the website.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, the newest one that came out was Belle the Pig by
Okay.
Everly Thompson. And she illustrated all the pictures. That
Nice.
is a pig on a treadmill.
Wow.
And
A
so she
pig
drew
on
all
a
the pictures.
treadmill.
And she actually, she went to the, it's good, it's good.
Oh
And she
God.
went to the event with me
Mm.
and she sold a lot of books. Like all the authors at the event were like, she sold the most of all of us. I was like, well, of course she did. She's 11 and she wrote a book. Like, come on. Yeah. And so I started the For Kids by Kids to help kids. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was that age, like I said, I didn't think I could make money writing books.
Mm.
And so I'm mentoring young authors
Wow.
and helping them grow.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Well, we have a couple of pardon me, y'all pardon me, my throat, I'm battling. But comment number one from Shayna Danielle Parker. Her book journey is a beautiful story of God taking her from faith to faith. And I am so glad that I get to witness this journey. Mhm. Second, Dr. Tachi, Mediascope host extraordinary, says hello. Hey, Dr. Tachi, thank you for chiming in. See, Nicole, you're bringing A1 creme de la creme people to check you out. Just because you stepped out on faith, just because you said, I'm going to do this, and see, the difference is you stepped out on faith. Pardon me, so many people will try and then not finish. They'll start, stop, and not start again. But you let God use you because your story is important. So don't ever think that your story isn't. It's very important. Okay, so what else do you have coming on the pipe? Any surprises that we don't know nothing
Um, yes.
about? Okay. Hmm.
So with Journey of a Storyteller,
Uh huh.
I have the first workbook is going to be how to get your character from here to there.
Okay.
And then the second workbook is going to be taking your story to the next level.
Mm.
So different tips and tricks about writing, all geared for kids.
Mm.
But with that, I'm also wanting to start a storyteller academy workshop type thing that kids can go through and do their storytelling. So from start to finish and get expert advice from editors about, hey, let's make this tweak, let's change this. This is what makes it more professional, things like that. So they can learn. And, like you saw with Everly, I did not change her, illustrations or anything like that. I did it, took it right exactly what she did. But I did tell her stuff of like, hey, you have to have it this size, or you have gave her parameters to work in that a kid could work in, and get the book out there, get the story out there.
I like it because it's designed by a kid, which will draw kids.
Yeah.
I
So
really like that.
the first thing that happened, my niece,
Mm-hmm.
she wrote this one.
Oh, my new sister.
My sister. So what
Pardon me.
happened was, they were at my house. I was watching them. Their mom had to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The my niece was premature. So
Oh,
Kylie, this was Kylie's new sister that was coming along.
okay.
They had to stay with me for a little bit, and she said, I was sitting at my table, I was working on, a story,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, "And Nicole, can I write a book?" I was like, "Yeah, write a book."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Can I publish a book?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, your aunt's a publisher, so sure, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like go ahead, write it." And so she wrote this whole story out. She illustrated all the pictures, like probably within 4 hours. And I'm just like, okay, now I have to format it.
Right.
Now I have to, I'm like, now the real work begins. But
Right.
that's fun. And she got it. She was so excited. She did and she did the pictures inside too. Like, she
Wow.
has the pictures inside too.
I love it.
And she I set up a book signing for her at a movie theater in their town because they live in a small town. And she was there with her big bow in her head, and she was just like, "Want to buy my book? Want to buy my book? Want to buy my?" I was learning from her. I'm like, apparently I need to be more
Wow.
excited at my book signings. Like, she didn't care who you were. She didn't care if you were old or if you were young. She was gonna be like, "Want to buy my book?" I was like, taking notes, taking
That
notes,
is
taking notes.
awesome. Phew. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So you got that coming down the pipe. Anything else that we need to know about?
I don't think so.
Also,
I'm trying, I mean,
okay.
I'm always working with new authors. I do collaborations with authors. Um, I'll get my plug in here for Solomon's Journey. My
Oh,
friend Ileana
ooh,
Dropkin.
push that
Now the
over.
fun
No,
thing.
no, no, no.
Okay,
Let me see that cover. Move it to
this
your
side.
right. Oh my God, who did the illustration of that? I love it.
So Trevor Yope. I hope I said his last name right.
Ooh,
But look at
wee.
these. These are fun. This is the inside.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Okay,
Oh
so
Jesus.
I didn't know, like, there's a difference in color and black and white. And
Yes.
somebody commented that they liked that it was black and white because their kids took colored
Drawing.
pencils.
Yes.
They took colored pencils and
Oh
they colored the
God,
pictures in themselves.
yes.
And I was like, that
Oh,
wasn't our intention, but that's genius. And
that's
that makes it so much
genius.
more
Oh,
fun. Yeah. It's like it makes it so much more fun. So, I mean,
oh my
it's always those
God.
things you learn, like
Yes.
along the way. Like, oh, yeah, kids love coloring in books. Why not give them a book
Yes.
they can actually color
Right.
and not get in trouble?
That's brilliant. We got a couple of more comments. Shayna says, I love this. Yes, childlike faith. High energy equals high income. Also, Dr. Tachi said, wonderful that your niece is excited about writing. Thank you, Dr. Tachi. See there, Nicole? You have done a fine job. I'm telling y'all, please, ma'am, please, sir, support Nicole Donoho, teddyfly.com. Y'all got to go see this website for yourself. This wonderful woman came on Map TV and tore it to shreds. I wish I could make my lights move and all that like it's an earthquake. But let me see. Do I got any? Let's see. Yeah, that's a popular. She came and tore it up. She came and tore it up. Oh, wait. The doctor. Tachi has another comment. She says, Dr. Tachi said, that's great. Now you can make it intentional so that they can personalize their experience by coloring.
Hmm.
Mmm. Y'all on the right path. You're doing a fine job. I'm always gonna be big brother, so you might as well get used to me. I think you have. So, it's a blessing when you can see God gives you insight and you can see where a person is going as well as encourage them at that level. And then you take the step and look at you now. You take the step and look at you now. You have business coming to you. Some of them you know, a lot of them you don't. But you can be picky of who you want to deal with, which is great. Your business is about to explode. You're positioning yourself for 2023 to be huge for you. So prepare the way because you're going to be very busy and you're going to get a lot of word of mouth stuff, and you can pick and choose who you want to deal with. I'm proud of you, right? And then here you come to book to boat, thriving office society, and you just shoo, this big
I think I think
smile,
I
huh?
think you were there, Keller, when I had my breakdown moment
Yes,
of
I was, but I was big brother, and I was like, "You gonna make it?" Cause I knew you could, and that's why I tell stories about me. This was supposed to happen 10 years ago, but I didn't have the faith in doing it, and so it took Shayna to talk to me back in February. March we launched, and I didn't have a name for the show, and she was like, "Well, what you gonna name it? What you gonna name it?" And I was like, "I don't know, I don't know, right?" So I don't know, right?
yeah.
So I'm sitting one day, and the Lord tells me, "You've been sitting on Map TV for 10 years. When you gonna use it?" And that's how my face was. I was like, "Oh, okay." So Map TV was born, and then Shayna said, "Well, why don't you start interviewing people to make your show grow faster?" I thought about it, and the people in the comments I interviewed. I've interviewed Shayna. I've interviewed Dr. Tachi, and that was awesome, awesome. Both interviews were great, and it helped me be better as a uh, guest, as a host. And so, yes, it's been great, and that's why I was like, "Girl, you gonna be fine." Well, should I be like, "Relax, you gonna be fine. You did fantastic." I mean, your skill set, like I said, and those of you that know her real well, yeah, she. When I saw the, let me see, when I saw the completeness of the list that she turned in, Lord Jesus, that's awesome. I ain't nowhere near that. So my hat's off to you because you bring a lot to the table. So don't ever let self doubt stop you. You are a powerful force, and you have helped us grow. You've helped me grow just by your presence and just by your questions. It's made me think. Okay, let me think about this. What you just showed, the intentional books that Dr. Sachi said and that Shayna said. And I'm like, oh y'all didn't mean to do it, but it turned out great because now the parents can let the kids color it the way they want. They
Yeah.
might be green, blue, yellow, whatever they decide. So I think it was great. So, do you have any last words you would like to leave on Map TV, Nicole?
Well, I think that just how important storytelling is.
Yes.
We don't realize that we're living in a story every day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that, like, mentoring the kid authors, I go in there and I tell them, you don't realize you're already telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're telling stories about what happened on your day,
Mm-hmm.
what happened in your life. You watch stories on TV, you watch stories in video games. You just don't realize all these things are written. All these things, somebody had to think about it in their mind
Right.
so that you would be pulled in and drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when I tell them that, it's like a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
have the power to think of something amazing, something awesome, or you have the power to bring darkness in
Right.
and do something bad. Um, Life and death are in the tongue. You
Right.
know
Exactly.
what comes out is what's going to come out.
Right.
And so I would just encourage people out there. Um, if you've been through something and you want to tell others, you want them to go through it, like, hey, you can get through this. You can make through it. Write a story.
Right.
If you just have a fun book where you want someone to have a lesson, write a story.
Right.
And even if you're not confident, hey, there's ghostwriters out there. There's
right.
ghostwriters out there.
Right. Right.
But
Right. Right.
there's people that God puts talents on for a reason. Because a lot of the authors that I worked with hit bestseller lists. They had amazing stories,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't have writing skills.
Mm-hmm.
And God gave me that skill, and I said, "Here you go.
Right.
Like, let's tell your story." Because Why not? Why not partner with somebody? If I had a great song on my heart, I'm gonna go find a musician
Right.
because my husband tells me I can't sing, and I trust him because he loves me. But like partner with those people that are good at what they're doing. Like you said, if you're not organized, find a Nicole that's organized. Like get that person that's organized. I don't do that with Teddy Fly. Just saying, I don't do
Look,
that.
look.
But just saying, like find people to partner with in your life.
Yes.
Don't try to do everything for yourself in your story.
Right.
Every good story, there is the main character, and then there is the sidekick that is helping that main character out in everything they do, you know? So just, yeah, write your story, partner with others. That's all I got.
Now y'all hear what she just said. Don't hang up because we have to do
Okay.
an after action review. Y'all hear what she said. Now I want y'all to go to teddyfly.com. Go to teddyfly.com. Look at the wonderful page that she has. Please support her. She has some wonderful products out there that will help your children and help them in their mindset. And as you can see, the things that she has been connected to, beautiful, age specific, kids drawing. Make other kids want to look at it. So please hit teddyfly.com up. She is awesome. I'm going to pray us out this time. Father, in the name of Jesus, we come before you. Thank you for another interview. Lord, now touch our guests. Give her strength to carry on this journey. Bless her husband. Bless her three sons, Lord. Watch over and protect their family, Lord. Bless us as she can maintain all these new responsibilities that she's getting, as well as the ones she doesn't see. Help us she can keep everything even, family, her time, and business and career. Help her. Bless her on her speaking engagements. Bless her on her book sales, Lord. Anoint the people to have them come and buy, and then you can spread your message through her. Now, touch it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So I appreciate that. Don't hang up because I got to
Okay.
close out the show. But thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you all who watched the show and all of you who uh, 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 will be watching the Lord, I'm a loss for words tonight because I guess I'm excited. The replay. Please don't forget to go to teddyfly.com and here, stay tuned for our next show. Here's the promo for it.